next image we're going to manipulate is the woodland site plan. Just to recap, we did save the woodland floor plan and the woodland section south, and I saved it as a PSD, which is the native extension to Photoshop. You could have saved it back to JPEG, but since we will be using the Adobe Suite to compose our final board, you could keep it in PSD, and PSD will, or the Photoshop will cross over into Illustrator without any problem. And besides, if you keep it this way, whatever you manipulate or change in here later on can be updated just straight onto Illustrator as well. So you might want to save it as two different file types, but for what our needs are, you could just keep it as PSD, Photoshop extension. Okay. So the next image that we're going to use is the woodland site plan. So go ahead and open that up. File open, site plan, and we'll still have to do the same stuff, which is to crop it, clean it up. We can't really straighten this thing. We can take the north arrow and point it north if we have to, but I don't think it's worth it at this point. So what I would try to do is to go to the rectangle tool, and well, actually before that, let's clean it up. Okay, and this is a part that we could really mess things up. Okay, so if we go to Image, Adjust, Levels, if we crank this way back, please note that your line work is disappearing, right? Okay, we don't want it to disappear. We want to keep it dark enough, but somewhat keep some of these dark area at bay. So we might change this up a little bit, but don't overly do it. What usually happens if you overly do it is that you're going to start making little punctures in where these lines are. So in fact, for what we have, we might not want to do too much at all. Okay, just slightly get rid of some of the gray tones. That's it. Don't go way too much. If you want way too much, lines disappear. That means that you have broken lines. So keep that as minimum as possible. Okay, and then say OK. Like I said, we're not going to change the whatchamacallit. We're not going to change the we're not going to straighten this up because it's hard to straighten. We will, however, make sure that it is of the proper resolution size, which is 150. And OK. Okay, what our goal is going to be is to crop this down to a size that gets rid of this outer area. So we're going to make a little square, and you'll try to follow my lead, I guess. If you select the marquee tool, the rectangular marquee, I'm going to go a little bit inside. See this line right here? Let me zoom in a little bit. I'm going to set it so that I am cropping the logo out, but trying to keep all the lines, all the black lines there, trying to keep it at the edge of the border. Let's see if I hit the Control key. No. If I hit the Shift key, I'm going to constrain the width and the height, and I'm going to want that because it is, well, that's what I want. Okay. And using the move tool, I can, whoops, Control Z, don't use the move tool. Control D, and I'm going to select this area up at top, but keep it a little bit inside so that the bottom part will be selected. Okay, I could keep it at that. I wonder if I should go on the inside a little bit. Control D, my marquee from this direction, from down here, and shift key. Nah, I like the other way better. In, shift, square, something like that. Yours might not be the exact same size, but that's okay. Don't worry too much about it. All I really want is a squared off space. Okay, when you get something like this, remember, what I want to do is to keep all the lines that end up within, outside of this running end. Okay, so I don't want this line beyond the border. I want to keep it inside so that we could do the next step on this thing. Okay, so if we're done with that, just say crop, image crop, and we got a square object or square image. Okay, I don't really care too much where you cropped it, just to make sure that all of these black lines are onto the outside edge.